Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to go over any questions or homework questions you want to see from either 8.1 or 8.2. We have a quiz scheduled for next week. So your homework that's due a week from today, and the reason why you guys have so long is this week I'm only seeing you today and that's it. So I won't see you again on a Zoom call until next Tuesday. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over any of the homework questions you guys want to see. We'll work those out, and then your homework that's due next Tuesday is going to be the quiz review. So it's going to be a Canvas quiz, just like we did with lesson 7.6. So for you guys, your quiz will be on Thursday. So I'll see you on Tuesday to go over the quiz review and answer any last minute questions you may have about the quiz. You'll be able to use your calculator because again, this is law of sines and law of cosines. We need that sine and cosine button. So we're going to take that quiz for you guys. It'll be on Thursday. For my other two classes, they'll take it on Wednesday. Then on Friday, what we're going to do is, I think, introduce chapter 9. However, the following week, so not next week is a quiz. The week after that, you're going to take a test. And the test is going to cover what was on the last quiz and what's on this quiz coming up. So we're going to reassess again. It'll be on 7.6, 8.1, 8.2. But that's not next week. It'll be the following week. And again, I'll be posting a test review and we'll go over all of that. Now, also, I released your quiz answers. So you can go back in and you can review the response you put and the correct response. So I think some common mistakes on that last quiz is people factored the stuff, but then you only found angles for one of the factors. So make sure when you factor something, you're finding all of the possible solutions. So review that. Because there was so many questions that were pulled from the bank, it's kind of hard for me to go through each one. So what I recommend you do is if you got something wrong, shoot me an email. The time after the next period ends, so from like 12, I think it's 12:15 or 12:30 until 2:30, that's your time to communicate with your teachers, email them. So if you're not sure why you got something wrong on that quiz, send me an email. So today's class, all we're going to do is go over the homework questions. So I'll work out any questions you want to see from the homework. Remember, when you're doing this chapter, all of your answers need to be in degrees. So when you're using your calculator, just double check that. Any questions so far before we start doing problems? All right, so and what I found is most of the questions came from 8.2, surprisingly. I know law cosines, the formula is a lot longer, so you just have to be careful when you're keying it in your calculator. A lot of the questions you can't do continuous in your calculator. You're going to have to write the steps down and then solve it from there. So does anyone need to see anything from 8.1 worked out? Any of those homework questions?
I have a general question.
Okay.
How do you check for if there's more than one triangle?
Okay. So what you're going to do is when you're given your information, you're going to see if it turns into the scenario of you have an angle, a side, and a side, or SSA. So what I recommend you do is take the given information and draw yourself a triangle. This is the only time for these two scenarios where you have to check to see if there's 0 triangles, 1 triangle, or 2 triangles. So for example, if I told you that you had angle A equals 43.5 degrees, little a is 10.7 meters, and little c is 7.2 meters. So what you're going to do is notice right away I can see that I have one angle and two sides. Now this could also be side angle side. So this is why it's important that you draw a triangle to see the scenario. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a triangle. Now obviously this doesn't have to be a right triangle. My triangle is not drawn to scale. I'm just going to put 3 letters around it, A, B, C. Remember, little a will be across from angle capital A, little b is across from angle B, and little c would be across from angle C. So let me label what I have. So I have 43.5. I have little b, I don't know. I have little a is 10.7, and little c is 7.2. So now that I see what I have on my picture, I'm going to go around and label what I have. So I was given an angle, I was given a side, and I was given a side. So notice as you go around your triangle, it goes from angle to the side to the side. So this tells me I do have this ASS scenario, or even if I went backwards and did side, side, angle, as soon as you see that that's what you're given, then you know that you need to check to see if you have only one triangle, two triangles, or no triangles at all. Does that answer your question, Sai?
But like once I figured out everything, I just don't know what to do to check for like if there's enough. Like I can check if there's no triangles, but I don't know how to check if there's more than one.
Okay, so do you want me to go through this one and show you how?
Please.
This one would only give you one triangle, but I'll show you what would happen. Let me just go through this and show you that it only produces one triangle. All right, so the first thing I need to do is I need to find angle C first. So I want to find, let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm finding angle C first because that's the side across from the angle that I have. I can't find angle B or side B first because I would need one of those numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the information that I have that has an angle and a side, and that's going to be in my first fraction. So I'm going to set it up as 10.7 over the sine of A, which is 43.5. I'm going to set that equal to 7.2 over the sine of C. And now what I need to do is solve this proportion. So I'm going to cross multiply. So sine of C, 10.7, because I'm multiplying cross products here. This times this, and now I'm going to do this times this. Gives me sine of 43.5 times 7.2. I need to isolate sine of C. So I'm going to divide both sides by 10.7. And I get sine of C. And now I'm going to do the math here. I'm going to multiply these two, and then I'm going to divide by 10.7. So once I do that, I end up getting 0.463. Let me double check that. Okay, yeah, so I get 0.463. Now, I'm looking for an angle measure. So remember, whenever you're looking for an angle measure, this is where we have to do that inverse function. So I'm really doing sine -1, and then I'm actually going to put in the whole number that was on my calculator because I'm just going to be hitting second answer. So really what I'm putting in here is 0.463191864 because this is what's on my calculator. So I'm going to hit second sine, second answer, just to fill this number in so I don't have to retype it. Once I do that, I end up getting 27.593. I'm going to round to the tenths place. So when you're taking this quiz, again, it's going to be multiple choice. So just see what the answers are rounded to. So angle C is approximately equal to 27.6. Good so far? Now, what I need to do is whenever you're solving these using law of sines is you need to find all the missing pieces. So I just found this, 27.6 degrees. I still need to find angle B and side B. Now, to find angle B, that's easy. I'm going to use my triangle sum theorem. So I'm going to add 43.5 plus 27.6. I'm going to add these two, and then I'm going to subtract that sum from 180. So 43.5 plus 27.6 gives me 71.1. I'm going to subtract that from 180, and I get my last angle to be 108.9. So that's going to be angle B. Now, I need to find lowercase b. Now, this is all the information for triangle 1. I'm going to go back after I find all 6 pieces, and I'm going to go back to do the test for the second triangle. So I'm going to take my newly found angle B, the 108.9, and I'm going to do another proportion. So I'm going to be setting it up as little b over the sine of 108.9 equals, and then I'm going to use my original proportion up here, or my original fraction, which was my original given. So this was side A and angle A. And now I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So I get sine of 43.5 times B equals sine of 108.9 times 10.7. Divide both sides by sine of 43.5. And I get little b is approximately equal to 14.7. Now, what I need to do to check to see if there's a second triangle, I'm going to come back up here to this first angle that I found. I'm going to subtract it from 180. So 180 minus the 27.6, and I get 152.4. Now, what I'm going to do is take this, so this could potentially be my other angle in my second triangle. But what I need to do is take my given angle, angle A, and add it to the 152. If this number goes higher than 180, then I know I can't form a second triangle because there's nothing left for the third angle. So you subtract this from 180 and then add it to the given one at the beginning of the problem. If this sum goes over 180, only one triangle can be formed. Is that better?
The given angle, but how do you know whether to subtract angle C or angle B from 180?
You're going to subtract the first angle you find.
So if I found an angle B first?
Yes.
Oh, I see. No, okay.
So whatever the first angle you found, that's the one you're going to subtract. All right, so this is lesson 8.2, and this is number 27. So my given information was AB equals 1,240, AC equals 876, and BC equals 965. So again, I'm just going to draw a triangle. Again, it's not drawn to scale. So I'm just going to fill in my numbers. So AB was 1240, and these were all feet. AC is 876. BC is 965. So this is a side, side, side scenario. All right, so whenever you have side, 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 you always need to find the largest angle first. All right, so, and the way that I can tell which angle is the biggest is I'm gonna look at my side lengths. Notice this 1240 is the biggest side, so this tells me I'm gonna find angle C first. Always when it's side, 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 find the largest angle first. So I'm gonna use law of cosines here. So I'm gonna go ahead and write down the formula I'm gonna use. I'm using, because I'm trying to find angle C first, remember the beginning and the end have to start with the same, have to have the same letter. And then I can fill in the rest. So then I put in a squared plus b squared minus 2 times a times b, and then times cosine c. Okay, so this is the formula I'm going to use. So let me fill in what I know. So I'm going to be filling in 1,240. Let me label these. So this is little b, it's across from capital B, and this is my little a. So 965 squared, 876 squared, 2 times 965 times 876 times the cosine of c. Now, whenever we have a scenario like this, know that we can't do this continuous in our calculator. Now, if you want to memorize like a manipulated version of this, we could sort of do that. Let's see. Let me just go ahead and one thing that you could do is let's manipulate this, and let me show you probably back in Algebra 1 skill how we could isolate cosine C, maybe to make this a little bit differently. What you could do is take c squared, a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. I could manipulate this and isolate this. And what I could do is subtract a squared. So I get c squared minus a squared equals b squared minus 2ab cosine c. Move the b squared. I don't know if this is going to confuse some people, but we can try this. So c squared minus a squared minus b squared equals negative 2ab cosine c. Divide both sides by negative 2ab. And then what I could do is divide all of these by negative 2. So make this negative, positive, positive, positive. So then maybe to be a little bit easier, you could solve for cosine c by doing this. Do a squared plus b squared minus c squared over 2ab. And then you could plug in your numbers this way. That's one option to have it already rearranged first, since you could have your formulas written down. But let me just show you how I plugged it into the other formula. And I could show you both ways. So let me just figure this out. So I'm going to go ahead and square. Let me go back to this. I'm going to square this, this, and this, and I'm going to write down my numbers. I'm also going to multiply negative 2 times 965 times 876. This is another option that you can do here. So I'm going to square 1240, and I get 1537600 equals, now the 965 squared, 931225, 876 squared, and now I'm going to subtract, I'm going to multiply these guys, these three. So negative 2 times 965 times 876. and I get 1690680 cosine C. Everybody with me so far? All right, so now the common mistake that students make is they take these three numbers and try to simplify that. You can't. So what I need to do is I can add these two blue ones. So I can add 931, 225 plus 767, 376. Add those two. 1698601. Let me rewrite everything else. Subtract. And now I need to subtract this. And I get 1537600 minus and I get, all right, then I end up with negative 161001 equals this. Now I'm going to rewrite the green. Now I need to divide both sides by this. And I get cosine of C is equal to 0.095228547. Again, I'm looking for an angle measure, so I'm really doing cosine -1. I'm going to put that decimal in there. I'm using just my second cosine second answer. And then this is going to give me my angle C to be approximately equal to 84.5 degrees. Now in the answers, I know it was in degrees and minutes. I will confirm and let you know if the test has degrees and minutes or if it's all decimal degrees. I'll let you know on Tuesday. But I know the homework has some of the problems in minutes. But go ahead and just, for now, you could leave it either way. So this is angle C. So now I need to go back. So far, go back to my picture here. I've only found 84.5 degrees. I still need to go back and I need to find angle A and angle B. Now, what I'm going to look for next is I'm going to go sort of like least to greatest. So now what I'll do is, actually I'm going to find the smaller angle first. So I'm going to find angle B next. So I'm going to do the largest, then the smallest, and then I'll find the middle one. So now I'm going to find angle B. I'm going to use my newly created information, so this highlighted red. And then I'm going to do these two. So I'm going to do, my side length was the 1240 over, now I can do sine. I don't need to do cosine again. Law of sines is a lot easier than law of cosines. And then little b was 876. And now I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So sine of b times 1240 equals sine of 84.5 times 876. Divide both sides by 1240. And I get sine of b. And again, remember when you do this, after we get our decimal, we're going to be doing inverse. So let's see, sine of 84.5 times 876 divided by 1240. And I get 0.703199248. Leave that on your calculator. Do second sine, second answer, And now angle B is equal to 44.7 because it's 6/8. So now I can come up here to my triangle. And now I have angle B, which is 44.7. Now to find angle A, I don't need to do another proportion. I can add angle B plus angle C and then subtract that from 180. So 44.7, 84.5. Let me add those. And I get 129.2. Subtract from 180 to get angle A. So 180 minus 129.2, and I get 50.8. And that's how you can find the 3 angles. You don't need to look for a second triangle when it's side, side, side. Any questions on that one, or anybody need me to go back to any of the calculations? Let me go back over to this that I had shown you before. So if you want to manipulate all of your equations ahead of time and realize that if you're looking for cosine C, let's go ahead and just plug in what we know. So little a was 965. Little b was 876. Little c was the 1240. And then divided by 2 times a times b. Let's just try to do this. And we could do this continuous in our calculator. If I were doing this, I would put all of this in a parentheses and then this in a parentheses. So let's try it and see if we get the same answer. So in here, 965 squared plus 876. And again, I would be using parentheses if you want to do this continuous. And then minus 1240 squared. Close the parenthesis again, then divided by 2 times 965 times 876. And again, I would use parentheses. And I get the same thing. Once I multiply all of this and then divide it by all of this, I still get the same thing that I got when I did it down here and plugging it in and squaring it. Again, my advice to you is play around with your calculator. Understand which buttons to push when, which problems you could do continuous, which problems that you have to actually write some of the stuff down. When it's side angle side, the other scenario for law of cosines, you can do that first side length that you look for continuous in your calculator. It's only the side that's a little tricky.
Second triangle, why is it that you find 2 new angles but you only find 1 new side?
Because generally when that occurs, you're given 2 sides to begin with. So you're given information that ASS, those 3 numbers don't change. It's only going to be the 2 new angles and the extra side that you're looking for that change. That'll be different in both triangles.
You keep everything that was given?
The same for both.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So really you need to practice. If any of you want to go back and do any of the even problems for extra practice and you need the answers, send me an email. If you need any of the other ones worked out, I believe in my A period video, I know I did have some technical difficulties, but in my A period video, I think I worked out most of the 8-2 homework. So if you need to see any of those on the video, I did work those out for A period. I'm not sure if the video stopped, but just keep in mind that it is on there on YouTube. Any other questions? Okay, so when I see you again next Tuesday, so I won't see you again the rest of the week, so you have until next Tuesday to work on your quiz review. Again, have your questions ready on Tuesday, because then your quiz is going to be on Thursday. Again, remember, you have your afternoons to email me if you need anything explained or worked out. If you're doing the quiz review and you get stuck on a problem and you want to see it worked out, send me an email. I'll send you a screenshot of the problem worked out. If you still don't understand, I'll try to write explanations next to it also. Any other questions or help on any problems? All right, so I guess you guys can go ahead and start your quiz review if you want. Again, if you end up doing it today and you have questions, you can always email me. But again, next Tuesday, we'll go over it. I'll be posting the solution so you can see it. But again, I'm always checking my email every day. And again, you have the whole afternoon from like 12:30 to 2:30 to shoot emails, and I can respond within that time. Any other questions? All right, so that's it. So again, this video is on YouTube. It's not on the Zoom account. So all my videos are all going to be on the YouTube playlist. So this is how I'm going to be doing it, just like we do when we're in school. That's it. So work on your review. Again, if you have questions, email me. The quiz will be next week. And that's it. So have a wonderful Easter. And I will see you guys all next week on Zoom again. All right, bye. Have a good day. Have a good week. See you next week.